Today is yard sale day. Oh, I cannot wait to sell some of this stuff and get my garage back. As you can see, we have got a lot of it, and I am excited to get started. It is about 7 o'clock on Saturday morning. It is hot and humid in Arkansas today. So we will see what kind of a turnout we have. But anyway, here is our setup. Oh, okay. So as you can see, it is already hot out here. I'm already sweating. And it's 7 o'clock in the morning. So what I wanted to do today is I've always had a lot of success with yard sales. I guess didn't think that that was unusual until I had a lot of my girlfriends are like, teach us how you do it. What do you do? Like, we never make any money at our yard sales. So I wanted to take just a little bit of time this morning, kind of go over just some tips of things that I do. So I think the number one thing that I do, and that I feel like is so important when you are doing a yard sale, is to advertise. There's with technology, there's the new Facebook Marketplace. I do advertise on there. I'm part of several of our area's online yard sale sites, so I advertise on there as well. I'll take pictures, put them on there, answer any questions that I get, comments that I get. I do always include our address, just because a lot of people like to throw that in their GPS on their phone and go. However, I do feel like it is still very important to do the old school advertising, the signs. Your die-hard yard sale shoppers, they do not necessarily get on Facebook to see all that stuff very often. So they still like the signs. It gives them directions. Very helpful. So I always use like the big bright bold neon poster board. This time I used pink, and I'll add a picture of that in there so you can see it. I put a sign at each entrance to our neighborhood. There are 2, and then at each major turn that they have to take, and there's only like 2. So it's really not a big deal for me to do that. Now, these people a lot of times will drive around on a Thursday evening, and they will kind of map out, if you will, their course for Friday and Saturday. So a lot of times I will go ahead and put those out on Thursday evening, fairly late. And on my signs, I always just put yard sale, and I put my times on it. I just feel like it's more helpful to anybody that's out looking around. All right, so my next tip is just to be organized. I've been to a lot of yard sales, and I hate having to dig through a bunch of stuff just to see if they maybe have what I want. So I tend to organize all of my stuff very well. I'll organize my tables like by category, whether it's home decor, or it's all clothes, or baby stuff, or whatever it is. I do just go ahead and tend to try to organize that well, and make your stuff look nice. Dust the cobwebs off of it, wipe it down a little bit if it needs to. Just make it look like it's like something you would want to buy. So another big part of yard sale success, I believe, is how you set up and organize your yard sale. As you can see, our driveway has a considerable slope to it. I don't know if you can tell, but it does have a good little slope to it. So I can't put a lot out here in the actual driveway without it rolling off. That stroller there has the brakes on so that it doesn't roll all the way down the hill. And like I said, it is Saturday morning, so my big items like my furniture, we had a huge outdoor playhouse, those have already sold. But they were sitting out here in the driveway. And as you can tell, here I'll walk back and show you, you want it to catch your eye. When you're walking by, you want it to be something that's gonna like, oh wow, look at that. You want bright colors, big stuff. I'm looking just a little bit on the sad side this morning, like I said, because all of that stuff we have already sold. But I typically do like walk by the house after I've got it all set up and out. I'll just walk by and be like, what do I, what else does it need? What else can I put out there that's going to grab somebody's attention from the road? And I feel like that helps. And then too, I'll show you what I mean by this, but I set my stuff up on the perimeter, and I set up stuff in the middle of that so that everybody has to walk by all of this stuff. Okay, you see, if you come in here, you have to make the circle. Whew. And there's a shirt that needs to be hung up. And if any of you have fantastic ideas for hanging up clothes, especially little clothes that people have to actually get to see, please let me know. I desperately need that. So as you can see, I've got these tubs of baby clothes, which unfortunately are not very organized at this point. They have been very, very picked through. I will need to go through and organize those later today. But it kind of creates a walkway that people have to walk through, and then they actually walk through and see all. Is pricing. When I price items for my yard sale, I price them with what I'd like to get out of them. But at the same time, I kind of come up with in my mind a price that I'd be okay with getting. That way, when somebody asks me, hey, will you take whatever? Say the item, I've got $5 on the item, like this picture. Okay, $5. Somebody comes up and they say, hey, will you take $2? Well, no, I kind of already know in the back of my mind that I'd like to get, my rock bottom price is $3 or whatever. It's just a good way to not have to kind of stutter and stumble and think about it right when they ask you, which can be kind of awkward. And when so one other thing that I will mention about pricing, and this is something that I learned just through experience over the years, don't price your stuff too high. Remember that if you don't sell it, you get nothing for it. So I've learned to come down just a little bit in my prices. You don't want somebody to come in to your yard sale, look around at a few things, and immediately think that you're too expensive or too high on your prices and just leave. That's not what you want. You want, you have this out there, you've put the work in to having either yard sale because you want somebody to buy your stuff. So price it accordingly. Now, with the one exception to that, if it's something that I know that I can sell on Marketplace or that I can sell on one of the yard sale sites, I will price it just a little bit below what I think I could get on those sites. If I don't have to put the work in, if posting it, meeting somebody to sell that, great. It's worth a couple of dollars to sell it a little bit cheaper at my yard sale. However, I just know in my head that my rock bottom price for that is not going to be as low as some of my other stuff, because I do know that I can set it aside, sell it on there, and so as you can see, I usually get about 25 to 30 bucks in fives, several ones, and then change. The reason that I do fives and ones when I'm doing my change is because a lot of times early in the morning, people will come in with bigger bills, especially if you're their first or second stop, and you're going to have to break, a 20 or a 10. I really have never seen anything larger than a 20. So it's kind of funny the way that your change changes throughout the day. Later in the day, you'll have a lot of 20s and obviously less of your smaller change. But I do a lot of the smaller change just because I've been in the position before where we had settled on a price for an item and it was a bigger item. And I didn't have the change to break what they were giving me, the cash that they were giving me. So I actually had to come down in my price because they certainly weren't going to go up. We'd already agreed on the price. So I had to actually come off of my price, $5. So I learned very quickly to make sure that you have the ability to break a larger bill. That's very important. I don't do so many coins just because I don't price a lot of my stuff like 25 cents or 50 cents. Some of the littler stuff that I do. But that's kind of usually the last stuff to go. And so I'm not as worried about that. Okay, so this next tip may seem a little funny. Might not seem like it would help that much and make that much of a difference in a successful yard sale or not, but I believe it does. Um, and that is just simply having change on. All right, so how do I store my cash at a yard sale? I just use the blue, it's just a pencil bag. It's just a 98-cent pencil bag from Walmart. I do try to keep all of my bills of the same denomination together, just because when you reach in there, it does make it just a little bit easier to put together. And I always put my ones out, just because if you're going to have this bag out and about with people, you don't necessarily want, your highest bills showing. Not that anything has ever happened for me, but it's just a temptation that, you might like to avoid. I'll slide that in there, zip it up, and voila. Now, when I am not busy, I do take this inside with me. I don't just leave it sit out here. And that's another thing. It's just an easy, nice grab and go inside the house to out or whatever. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about was just to have your yard sale 2 days. I always have mine Friday and Saturday. I feel like I have more customers on Friday. I sell more on Friday, and people are actually willing. It seems like to me, it seems like they spend a little bit more money on Fridays. Um, Now, if I only had it one day, would I have the same amount of customers? I don't know, possibly. Um, but Saturdays don't seem as busy around here anyway, to me. Um, so I do feel like having that Friday and Saturday is beneficial. Now, I mentioned a little bit about on my signs, I put the times that I'm going to be out. And that's just because if I'm going to do it for 2 days, I don't want it to take up both days. I don't want my entire Friday and Saturday going with a yard sale. So I try to do from about 7 to 12 or 1. Now, in the Arkansas heat, things do get kind of sweaty and nasty by lunchtime. However, what I have figured out over the years of doing this, because I've had several yard sales, around lunch you'll get a little bit of a rush. There's always your morning rush and then fairly steady traffic throughout the morning. About 11 o'clock it'll kind of die down, and then like 12 to 1 there's always seems to be a rush. So I have learned to leave them open just a little bit later to kind of get that last minute sales in. Last tip, and it may be one of the most important, at least it seems like it to me. Don't be distracted when you have customers around. Don't be sitting playing on your phone. Don't be talking on the phone. It just seems like, I know when I go to a yard sale, if somebody is sitting on their phone, to me, they're not interested in making deals. They really don't care if you're there or not. If I see something I want and I'm willing to pay the sticker price for it, great, I'll get it. If not, I move on to the next one. And I don't want people feeling like that when they come to my yard sale. I want to be approachable, help them out if they need it. Now, I don't hover, but I will tell them, if they're like looking at clothes, I'll tell them what size is, on what table, things like that. And ask them, how they are when they first walk up. And I do try to stay off my phone. It's actually taken me quite a while to film this video just because I've had to start and stop so much with customers coming up, but that's okay. The other thing about being distracted that I've learned, now I'm a mom, I'm a huge proponent of, I really don't do a lot that I can't do with my kids. But yard sales are one of them when I'm having it. Now, I love to see moms bring their kids up to the yard sale. It typically means a little bit of a bigger sale, especially if there's toys involved. But I do not have my kids outside with me while I'm having or hosting a yard sale. And that's just because now my older one, I probably could. He'd be fine. He'd just sit outside on his tablet and completely ignore everybody. But my younger one would be into everything. He is your typical busy, ornery 3-year-old. Um, and that would be a huge distraction for me. So I choose on Fridays, he goes to daycare. And then on Saturdays, he's in the house with dad while I'm doing a yard sale. And that's just something that I've kind of always been um, adamant about, that I don't want them out here. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far. I hope this helps you. I hope that you've gotten some good tips and tricks. Maybe some things that you can do different at your next sale to make it more successful. Please like this video. Comment below if you do have any tips and tricks that I didn't share. I still have a lot of learning left to do, and I would certainly appreciate that. I'm sure others would as well. Subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time. Thanks, and bye-bye.